secondary solenoid battery combiner for emergency use. There was a vent here that no longer needed the vent, so I took the vent out and I installed a cable pass-through so I could easily run cables through there. When I'm done with this project, I can seal it up. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and wire up backup solenoid here. I'm gonna push them through the pass-through and pick them up on the other side of the bulkhead. These are the wires that I pushed through. They're gonna get connected here to the battery control center. I'm gonna do all the live connections tomorrow, so I can kill the battery, charger, inverter, converter, everything off at one time. Do all my positive connections. Okay, gonna work on the batteries. Like always, I shut off the charger. The last thing I want to do is have 4 of these batteries fighting me, sparking, in case I make a mistake. That's off. Turn this switch, battery selector to off. Now the batteries are isolated. Now I'm gonna work on the emergency interconnect solenoid. This baby right here will connect the house batteries to the chassis batteries and help charge up the chassis battery when hooked up to shore power or generator power. When I'm on the road and the alternator is putting out power, I'll disconnect the switch, keep these two separate. The house batteries will get the solar power to charge up the batteries. The chassis battery will be charged up by the alternator. I don't want to run the alternator into the house batteries because the low resistance on these lithium batteries could damage the alternator. And that's the last thing I want to do is get stuck on the road with a burnt out alternator. So when I'm on the road, I'll disconnect them. When I'm parked, I'll connect them, and solar power will charge either one, whether or not I'm connected. Okay, in this battery control center, the top lug here, back here, is for the chassis batteries, and the bottom one is for the coach batteries. So I'm gonna hook up my lead here. I could also run that interconnect in there, solenoid, from the driver's seat. So if the battery runs down overnight, I could use this to jump the batteries for an emergency start. I've got my solenoid connections here. Gather access to the wiring back here. You remember from the previous video, I ran extra wire after I drilled the hole in the floor, so I won't have to re-drill the hole to run extra lines. In order to get back there, I gotta take this heating vent out. And to remove the heating vent, it's the simple thing of pulling and twisting. Pops right out. Got 2 screws securing this to the wall. Then this whole thing will slide out, and I can get my hand back there and fish the wires through for the solenoid switch. Be gentle, because you got the aluminum heating duct behind here, and it could be a little fragile. The last thing you want to do is run new heating duct. So that just twists off. The heating duct rides on the inside screws here. Push this out of the way so you can get your hand in there. And these are the wires I ran. Extra long leads. I could use it for this specific function right now without running new wire. This one we're not going to need now. We'll push that back in out of the way. We're going to need both of these. One to power the switch, and one side to power the solenoid. Just like everything else, 12 volt. Red's going to be the positive, the black is going to be the negative. On motorhomes, and the black is in the positive, the white is a negative. So you got to check which wire combination they're using for which circuit. Like this right here, you got the red is the positive, and then the white is the common. So use a meter to check whether it's a positive, negative, which circuit it's coming from. I don't know why they don't stay with the same standard as automobiles for the 12-volt system, red and black. I guess that makes too much sense. I'm sure they have a reason for going with the white and the red. I'm not sure what it is. It doesn't make sense to me. Anyway, onward and backwards, whatever. Before I shrink wrap any tubing or solder or anything, I'm just gonna check, make sure the circuit is working, so I don't have to redo it. I like my job, but I don't want to do it twice. On the switch, we established that this terminal is the positive, that's the ground, and this is the feeder going to the solenoid. Positive, go Yogi, negative, go Yogi, and we'll run a positive off of this. We'll leave the black here as a spare wire, because I only need one. Keep things simple. Red will be the positive feeder to the solenoid. And positive feeder to the solenoid will be up here. Before I drill a hole in the wall, I'll make sure that this works. Once I'm confident that I didn't screw nothing up, I'll go ahead and drill a hole, run this through the hole, and then finish up the connectors at the solenoid. All right, this is the solenoid feeder. We'll get this out of the way so we don't get tangled up. This is the switch control circuit. We're gonna tap in over here. Got our positive bus bar and negative bus bar. Nice short run. I need a little extra in case I have to change something later on. Okay, let's check our work so far. The blue is a negative. And turn the light on, it works. So up to the switch here, everything is good. We have to finish up the connection here to the solenoid. We'll go ahead and finish up these connections and solder them, grab them, and move on to the solenoid side. Let that cool a little bit, we'll put some shrink wrap on it. Shrink wrap I'm using has a little bit of solder on the inside. When you melt it, the solder will reinforce that connection. And it'll seal up both ends, keep it watertight. Put a ring in for the negative side. Okay, switch side is done. Now we're gonna run the solenoid side. I'll fish these wires through the bulkhead here. Then you're pulling the wires through. I have a red and a black here. The red is the positive from the switch. The black is a spare. It's behind the panel, which I'm gonna use here to tie in to the negative for system ground. This is the negative bus bar. And I connected the negative from the solenoid control circuit. The other end of it is going to go to solenoid. So when the solenoid gets power, 12 volt and a negative, it'll close, connecting the two battery systems together, the chassis and the house batteries. So they both charge at the same rate. And this is the positive. I know I must have said it about 100 times, but it keeps it straight in my head. Okay, I'm just gonna run a jumper here, check the whole circuit before I drill a hole in the wall there. This is the house batteries, that's the chassis batteries. They should all be pretty equal once I flip the switch. Boom, There we go. That's working. That's working. Nice job. When I shut this off, they'll be separated. It's just a matter of time before the chassis batteries drop offline. That'll give me time to run the switch over here, put everything back together. Just making sure there's nothing behind it that I'm gonna drill through. Make the final connection, close everything back up. Final connection will be positive here, someplace. There it is. I'm gonna hook that up over here. Then tomorrow, I'll go ahead and clean up all these wires. I shouldn't have to come back in here again. Red light's on, batteries are syncing up. Time to finish. Shut them off. Right now I got the interconnect activated, charging up the chassis battery with the house batteries. I'm gonna put the heater register back since I'm done with the wiring. Give it a couple little turns so you feel it engage. All right, it's locked in place. Push that on the flex tape. Line up your screws. They're on the 3 and the 9 o'clock position, the screw holes. Put the screw holes here. All right, much better. The cover back on so you could direct where you want the flow to go. Also hides the screws. Okay, at the end of the work day, I'm gonna reverse the procedure. Back to both. Click the center connect back on. Turn the AC power back on.
Now let's discuss the operation of a solenoid. A solenoid is a magnetically actuated switch used to energize a high amperage device from a remote location. Without a solenoid, to start an engine, we would need a heavy cable and a large switch at the console of the boat. Not very practical. Instead, we use a small key switch, a small gauge wire, and a solenoid. When we turn the switch, we allow power to travel to the solenoid coil here. When power passes through this coil, the coil becomes a magnet. Let's take a look at the internal workings of a solenoid. Okay, so here we have it cut away. So, inside this magnet, in here, is a metal slug called a plunger. When we send energy, when we send power to this magnet, to this coil of wire, it creates a magnet, and the slug is thrust upwards. Let's take a look and see what happens when the solenoid is energized. When it's thrust upwards, it makes contact between these two heavy posts on top of the solenoid. This connection is made. It allows power to travel from the battery or the unswitched side of the high amperage circuit to the device.
I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and hit that notification icon for the latest videos as they are released. Thanks for watching and catch you in the next one. Ciao for now.